Cancer does not grow by accident. It follows rules. Rules written in biology, chemistry, and signals inside the body. Cancer cells need fuel. They need growth signals. They need inflammation. And they need ways to avoid normal cell death. When those systems support them, cancer cells survive and multiply. When those systems are disrupted, cancer cells struggle. This is where the science becomes interesting, because research shows that certain foods contain natural compounds that interfere with how cancer cells grow, divide, and spread. Some of these compounds slow cell growth. Some push damaged cells toward programmed death. Some block the signals tumors rely on to survive. This is not opinion. This is not folklore. These are findings seen in laboratory studies, animal research, and long-term population data. Yet, most people never hear about them. The focus is often placed only on treatment, not on the biological environment inside the body. But cancer does not live in isolation. It responds to hormones. It responds to inflammation. It responds to insulin levels. And it responds to what the body is fed every single day. That does not mean food is a cure. It does not replace surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, or medication. But it does mean food can influence the conditions that cancer cells need to survive. And that difference matters. In this video, you will learn about 9 foods that scientists have studied for their effects on breast cancer cells. You will learn how these foods interact with cancer biology at the cellular level. You will learn which compounds researchers focus on and why. You will learn what the science actually supports and what it does not. Some of these foods are common, some are overlooked, some are misunderstood, and some are surrounded by confusion and fear. There are foods that activate pathways linked to cell death. There are foods that help regulate estrogen signaling. There are foods that reduce chronic inflammation, which is one of cancer's strongest allies. There are foods that may limit the ability of tumors to create new blood vessels. These effects are not dramatic headlines. They are subtle biological shifts. But over time, subtle shifts can change outcomes. This video will also clarify important truths that are often ignored. Not all studies are equal. Not all forms of a food act the same way. Not all claims made online are supported by evidence. You will learn where the science is strong. You will learn where it is still developing. And you will learn how to think critically about health claims instead of falling for false promises. This matters because misinformation spreads faster than facts. And when it comes to cancer, false hope can be dangerous. Here the goal is clarity, balance, and respect for science. Every point shared in this video is grounded in research from credible scientific sources. No exaggeration, no miracle language, no fear tactics. Just biology explained in a way that makes sense. Stay until the end, because the final section brings everything together. It explains why no single food matters on its own, why patterns matter more than perfection, and why small daily choices can influence long-term health in powerful ways. If you or someone you care about has been touched by breast cancer, this information matters. If you want to understand how nutrition interacts with disease at a deeper level, this matters. And if you value science over hype, this video was made for you. Welcome to our channel, where health is explained with evidence, not emotion. If you believe clear, science-based information should reach more people, subscribe now and join our community. Before we go any further, one point needs to be absolutely clear. Food is not a replacement for medical treatment. Nutrition does not cure cancer on its own, and it should never be used instead of professional care. This video is created for educational purposes only. It is meant to explain how certain foods interact with the body at a biological level based on scientific research. It is not meant to diagnose disease. It is not meant to prescribe treatment, and it is not meant to guide personal medical decisions. Breast cancer treatment involves trained medical professionals, tested therapies, and individualized care plans. Doctors consider tumor type, stage, genetics, hormone status, and many other factors that food alone cannot address. Those decisions must always remain between a patient and their healthcare team. Nutrition plays a different role. It supports the body during treatment. It helps maintain strength, energy, and immune function. It can influence inflammation, metabolism, and hormonal balance, which may affect overall health. But support is not the same as replacement. Changing what you eat should never mean stopping medication, delaying treatment, or ignoring medical advice. Any dietary change, especially during cancer care, should be discussed with a qualified doctor or dietitian who understands the full medical picture. This video respects medicine, science, and patient safety. The information shared here is meant to exist alongside medical treatment, not in competition with it. Cancer cells survive by breaking the normal rules that healthy cells follow. In a healthy body, cells grow, divide, and die in a controlled way. When a cell becomes damaged beyond repair, it is supposed to shut itself down. Cancer cells find ways to ignore that signal. One of the first things cancer cells depend on is fuel. They consume large amounts of glucose because fast growth requires constant energy. This is why researchers pay close attention to blood sugar levels and insulin signaling. High and unstable sugar availability creates an environment where cancer cells can thrive. Inflammation is another key factor. Short-term inflammation helps the body heal, but chronic inflammation creates stress signals that cancer cells can exploit. These signals encourage growth, protect tumors from the immune system, and help damaged cells survive longer than they should. Hormones also play a major role, especially in breast cancer. Certain tumors respond strongly to estrogen and related growth signals. When these signals are constantly active, cancer cells receive repeated instructions to divide and resist shutdown. What makes this process even more dangerous is the way cancer cells avoid programmed cell death. They disable internal checkpoints that normally remove abnormal cells. This allows damaged cells to stay alive, multiply, and spread. Some natural compounds found in foods interact with these same pathways. They can influence sugar metabolism, calm inflammatory signals, and interfere with hormonal activity. They can also reactivate pathways linked to normal cell death. That is where food becomes biologically relevant. One of the most important defense systems in the body is a process called apoptosis. This is the body's built-in method for removing damaged or abnormal cells. When a cell becomes unhealthy, apoptosis sends a signal that tells it to shut down and break apart in a controlled way. Healthy tissues rely on this process to stay balanced. Breast cancer cells often survive by blocking this signal. They avoid self-destruction and continue dividing, even when they are damaged. This is one reason tumors can grow unchecked. Researchers have discovered that certain plant compounds can interact with the same pathways involved in apoptosis. Cruciferous vegetables, such as broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbage, contain sulfur-based compounds that have been shown in laboratory studies to activate enzymes linked to normal cell death. These compounds appear to make it harder for abnormal cells to ignore shutdown signals. Berries are another area of interest. They are rich in polyphenols, natural antioxidants that influence cell communication. Studies suggest these compounds may slow cancer cell growth and increase sensitivity to apoptosis while protecting healthy cells. Green tea contains catechins, especially one compound that has been widely studied for its effect on breast cancer cells. Research shows these compounds can interfere with growth signals and support normal cell regulation. These effects are not instant or dramatic. They are gradual biological influences observed in controlled research settings. Cancer cells do not grow on their own. They respond to signals in the body that tell them when to divide and when to slow down. Two of the most important signals involved in breast cancer are estrogen and insulin. When these signals are constantly elevated or unbalanced, cancer cells receive repeated messages to grow. Flax seeds have gained attention because they contain lignans, plant compounds that can interact with estrogen activity. In the body, lignans are converted into forms that may help regulate how estrogen binds to cells. Research has linked regular flaxseed intake with changes in tumor growth markers, suggesting a potential role in supporting hormonal balance rather than increasing stimulation. Soy foods are often misunderstood. Whole and fermented soy foods contain isoflavones, which are much weaker than human estrogen. In many studies, these compounds appear to compete with stronger estrogen signals, potentially reducing overstimulation in breast tissue. This effect is most often associated with traditional forms such as tofu, tempeh, and miso, not highly processed soy additives. Insulin is another growth signal cancer cells can exploit. Frequent blood sugar spikes increase insulin release, which can promote cell division. Healthy fats, such as those found in olive oil, nuts, and seeds, slow digestion and help stabilize blood sugar levels. By reducing sharp insulin spikes, these foods may limit one of the signals cancer cells depend on. While individual foods often get the spotlight, one daily habit has a far greater influence than any single ingredient. That habit is consistently eating fiber-rich whole foods. Fiber is not just about digestion. It plays a central role in metabolic health, hormone balance, and immune function. When fiber reaches the gut, it feeds beneficial bacteria. These bacteria help regulate inflammation and produce compounds that support healthy cell behavior. A balanced gut environment also influences how the body processes estrogen. Instead of being reabsorbed and recycled, excess hormones are more effectively cleared from the body when fiber intake is adequate. This process matters because hormone levels do not operate in isolation. They are shaped by daily dietary patterns, not occasional healthy meals. Meals built around vegetables, legumes, whole grains, nuts, and seeds create a steady biological environment that supports regulation rather than extremes. Focusing on one so-called superfood often leads to disappointment.
No single item can override poor overall habits.
Research repeatedly shows that dietary patterns are more predictive of health outcomes than isolated foods. What is eaten most days matters more than what is eaten occasionally. Consistency allows the body to adapt in positive ways. Stable blood sugar levels, improved gut diversity, and better hormone clearance develop over time. These changes do not require perfection. They require repetition. It is just as important to be clear about what science does not claim. Research does not show that food alone can cure cancer. No diet, ingredient, or eating pattern can replace medical treatment or guarantee recovery. Claims that suggest otherwise are not supported by evidence and often create false hope. Science also does not say that any single food can prevent cancer with certainty. Risk is influenced by many factors, including genetics, environment, hormones, and lifestyle. Nutrition is one part of a much larger picture, not a protective shield. Supplements are another area where confusion is common. Isolated pills do not behave the same way as nutrients found naturally in whole foods. In some cases, high-dose supplements have shown no benefit or even increased risk in clinical studies. Whole foods contain complex combinations of fibers, antioxidants, and bioactive compounds that work together in ways supplements cannot fully replicate. Extreme dietary approaches can also be harmful. Severely restricting food groups, cutting calories too aggressively, or following unproven protocols can weaken the body during a time when strength and resilience are critical. These approaches may increase stress, disrupt hormones, and interfere with treatment. Honest science avoids exaggeration. It focuses on what is supported, what is uncertain, and what remains understudied. That transparency is essential for real understanding and trust. The most practical approach is not about restriction or fear. It is about adding supportive choices day by day. Small changes, repeated consistently, create a healthier internal environment without stress or perfection. Building meals around whole plant foods is a simple starting point. Vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains, nuts, and seeds provide fiber, antioxidants, and natural compounds that support normal cell function. These foods do not need to be exotic or expensive. What matters is variety and regularity, not chasing specific ingredients. Reducing ultra-processed foods also plays an important role. These products are often high in refined sugars, unhealthy fats, and additives that can increase inflammation and disrupt blood sugar balance. Replacing them gradually with minimally processed options helps stabilize energy levels and reduces metabolic strain on the body. Support happens through daily habits, not occasional efforts. Regular meals, balanced portions, and steady nourishment help maintain strength and resilience. There is no need for extreme plans or rigid rules. The goal is sustainability, not intensity. Simple steps create momentum, adding more whole foods, cooking more often, and paying attention to how the body responds builds awareness without pressure. This approach respects both science and real life, allowing progress without overwhelm. Knowledge is power, and every small choice you make for your health adds up over time. Science shows us that smart nutrition can support the body in meaningful ways, even in the face of serious challenges like breast cancer. It is not about miracles or instant fixes. It is about understanding how food interacts with your biology and making consistent, informed decisions every day. If you found this information valuable, please like this video to show your support for science-based health content. Subscribe to our channel for more evidence-driven insights that help you take control of your well-being. And if you want a follow-up video exploring common myths about breast cancer nutrition, leave a comment below. Your questions and experiences help guide our future content and create a community focused on learning and understanding.